So I'm sneaking into Zoe's bedroom for a second because I want you to meet Josefina. Josefina is a leopard spotted gecko. She is going to be, I think, 12. And Josefina, let's see if we can get a good close-up. There she is. Look at her, isn't she beautiful? Josefina was the subject of a small experiment. And I'm going to share that data with you in a quick second. But wanted to introduce you to the lovely lady behind the data that we're going to work with in a quick second. So now that you've had a chance to meet Josefina, here's the experiment. I wanted to know how quickly she ate her crickets. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we give her 10 crickets, and so I copied down the data, but I didn't do a very good job of organizing my spreadsheet so that I could record my data in an organized way. So while I've got the 3 days worth of data, I need to organize it according to the rules of a well-crafted spreadsheet. So I've got my list of checklists sitting next to me, and I'm going to use that to help me organize my data. The very first thing I need is a title, which is always the effect of the IV on the DV. So if I'm going to start off with my title, I'm going to write the effect of, and I need to decide what my IV and my DV are. I'm taking a look at time, and I'm looking at how many crickets she eats over time. Does time depend on the number of crickets, or does the number of cricket she eats depend on the time? Yeah, that sounds better. The number of crickets she eats depends on how long she has to eat. So the independent variable is time. So the effect of time on, and the dependent variable, the number of crickets she eats, depends on the time. So that's the dependent variable. So the effect of time on the number of crickets Josefina eats. Yeah, and don't even think about asking me where that name come from. It's a little bit of a story. So the effect of time on the number of crickets Josefina eats. The next thing I need is a label, so I'm going to call this figure 1. And the next thing on my checklist, IV on the left. Well, I just said time was our IV. Time. And then my values of IV, when I take a look at how I broke it up, I timed her every minute to see how many crickets she ate. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 3 minutes. And time is expressed in minutes, so I need to include my unit up there. So the effect of time on the number of crickets Josefina eats. And then my DV has to be on the right. So I've got 3 days, so that's kind of 3 trials. So trial 1, trial 2, and trial 3. And this is really, and then what do you think? Should I total the number of crickets at the end, or should I average them? Yeah, I think average is a better idea. So I'm going to average, on average, how many crickets does she eat in the first minute? Average. And then I'm going to put a bunch of numbers in, but I got to explain up here, this is my column heading, I got to merge, so I'm going to use this great little shortcut, merge cells. I'm going to say, okay, the number of crickets eaten. All right, so I'm going to trial 1, I'm going to have 4, 6, and 10. So trial 1 is really Monday. I'm going to sneak that up there. Trial 2 is really Tuesday. Trial 3 is really Wednesday. And then I got to get my data in here. So Wednesday, 4, 7, and 9. And oops, that was Wednesday. Whoops, it's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It is Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday, because we really feed her every other day. Gotta make sure I keep up with my data here. 5, 7, and 9. So I'm going to put 5, 7, and 9. Okay, so I've got all my numbers in here, and then I need average. Okay, I'm going to come up here to my shortcut. This is my formula shortcut, and I'm going to average Notice that it highlights all of these numbers. I really just want to average the number of crickets she eats on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Once I do that, I'm going to show you how I do that again. I'm going to come up here, click on average, and I'm going to click on the numbers, the cells that I want averaged, and then I've got that. So I've just shown you how to use the shortcut button bar twice, but I can take and copy, Command C, and I can come down here and paste. So I can paste a formula as well. And anytime I'm done creating an action, I can hit escape to make any of those fuzzy lines go away. So I'm just going back to my checklist. I've got column headings with appropriate subheadings. My column heading is number of crickets, my subheadings, and then it says units consistently expressed. So units. I know that I'm working in minutes, and I know I'm working in days of the week, so we're good there. Borders used. That's my next checklist. I've got to create some borders. So I'm going to highlight all this data, and I'm going to create some borders. And I want some borders over here. And I've got borders. And numbers indicate consistent decimal. Oh, my decimals are all goofy. So if I've got my data, I want to make sure that it is, usually in science we go to the hundredths. So I'm going to use this shortcut button to make my decimals appropriate. I'm going to go back to my checklist. It says proper applications of formulas. I'm going to look at my formula bar. I've got the average of B10, D10, B11, D11, B12, D12. I like my formulas. That's good. Then it says summary spreadsheet. I need a summary spreadsheet. So now I need to come down and say figure 2. Because now I'm going to create a spreadsheet that reflects just the summary information, just the average. So I like to take advantage of copy and paste, and this time it is the average effect of time on the number of crickets Josefina eats. And I'm going to say my IV is time, my DV is number of crickets eaten, and then I'm going to say this cell is going to be equal to, and then I'm just going to come up and click on that cell and hit return. I'm going to say equals, and then just click on that cell. If I click on any other cell, equal, then I'm going to find, for example, look, if I click on that one, I'm taking into account that, and I don't want F12 in there, so I've got to go back and hit delete and make sure I'm just getting that value. Number of crickets eaten, and then I'm going to put borders around that cell. So now I'm all done. There are some things that I might do to make this set of spreadsheets a little prettier, but I'll put that in a second screen recording. Here's my trial spreadsheet and my summary spreadsheet.